Uprising.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for joining us. So first, let's talk about the film itself. I Will Follow. Your film is a film that has gotten some critical acclaim already. Would you characterize it as an independent film?
Oh, excuse the cold. Mm-hmm. Absolutely independent film, made for very little money, written, directed, financed, produced, and distributed, marketed, and publicized by yours truly. So that sounds indie to me. So yeah, very small, but very close to the heart.
What is the main premise of the film? This is a film that is, doesn't necessarily have the traditional Hollywood hallmarks of action, violence, and special effects, but it's a very personal film.
Yeah. No action, no shoot 'em ups, no men in dresses. It's definitely just a meditation on love and loss and loyalty. It's really trying to present African American characters as we are, regular people who live and breathe and die and love and, do so in the way that everyone else does. And I think those are the representations that people of color are missing in cinema. It's always something heightened. And this is not a heightened moment. It is an everyday slice of life moment. And so the film is about a woman at a crossroads. Her name is Maye. She has a hot career, a hot boyfriend, and then illness befalls a family member, and she has to go home and take care of some things. And so it's about trying to keep your balance amidst chaos. And I think that's something that a lot of folks might be able to relate to. I know I did, and the story is based on the true experiences of me and my family.
So when does the film release and where?
Well, the film releases nationally on March 11th. That's this Friday. And this is the first time ever that a simultaneous national theatrical release has happened purely through grassroots means. So in Los Angeles, in New York, in Seattle, in Philadelphia, in Atlanta, film lovers will be experiencing the film March 11th throughout the week. This is not a tour. It's not a screening. It is a standard theatrical release. You can see it at 11, 12. You can go to a matinee, a late night. It's in your local AMC theater. And yeah, I mean, it's really quite extraordinary when you think that we don't have P&A. P&A is prints and advertising. And so, Transformers 19 has, a $90 million right. P&A budget, whereas this film doesn't have P&A. It has P&E. It's passion and elbow grease. It's people in the community getting the word out, handing out flyers, Facebooking, how we do. And so that's how we're going to open this picture, and it's going to be a success.
So no big billboards on freeways, but
we have Uprising, so we don't need that.
So let's talk about the challenges that face Black indie filmmakers in particular. It's certainly not easy for any independent filmmaker to make a film and then get it noticed and get it distributed. Every now and then one will break through, or a few will break through and even make it big time and score an Oscar, etc. But what are special challenges for African American indie filmmakers?
I think we have our own set of challenges, but I move not in the world of challenges. I move in the world of let's just get it done. And so yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of talk and a lot of dialogue about the Oscars and the whole whitewash issue. A lot of talk about the fact that the only film released so far this year starring a Black woman by the studios has been Big Mama's House. Those are problems. But if we dwell on those and all of our discussions are about the challenges and what they are not doing for us, we miss the opportunity to create our own distribution models, our own films.
But I'd like to dwell on it just for a minute.
I mean, it's just
because unless you see the problems, it's hard to necessarily overcome them. Funding is always an issue, right? Marketability is always an issue, and it seems as though in Hollywood, especially, unless there's a white male lead, studios don't want to pick up a film.
I think that those are issues and problems if you're looking to mainstream Hollywood to validate you and to distribute your product, and that's not what we're doing. We're saying we have models, we have institutions, we have foundations, we have masses of Black people who are starving for imagery. Why are we looking over there for them to validate and give us permission to distribute our pictures? If you look over there, you've got a big problem. If you look to yourselves and create your own platforms, there's no problem. There's only possibility. And so I am not interested in pitching my films to studios. I'm not interested in raising money with big corporations. I'm not interested in waiting for them to give me permission to distribute my images. I'm going to do it myself. We're doing it. The film opens March 11th.
You say this as someone who's been in the industry for a long time.
I've had my agency since 1999. I've worked on everything from Dreamgirls to Invictus to the TV show Girlfriends to Lumumba to Alvin Ailey Dance freelance center. I mean, I've worked on a lot of entertainment product, and I've worked within the industry. They're my clients. But that whole world is demystified for me. It's corporations that are profit-based and good for them. If you're looking to be empowered, you don't look to those corporations. You look to yourself. And so I really don't see challenges. If you want that, you have challenges. If you want freedom, you don't have challenges.
My guest is Ava DuVernay. She's the writer and director, co-producer, and lots of other things of the film I Will Follow, which opens this Friday, March 11th at AMC Theaters, a nationwide release of this independent film that has been highly acclaimed and reviewed. So let's talk about AFFRM. The film is the first offering of, and I suppose the sort of trailblazer for the African American Film Festival releasing movement. You founded this nonprofit. How does this work, and how is it going to provide a vehicle for other films to follow by other filmmakers like yourself?
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, it's really about freedom. It's about not having to ask permission to tell and share our stories, in my mind. And so the goal of the African American Film Festival releasing movement, which is a collaboration of the nation's finest black film organizations, handpicked because they are so stellar, is a function to allow us to release 2 films per year, 2 films that we believe in, 2 films that otherwise wouldn't see the theatrical light of day, 2 films that we can put all of our muscle and firepower behind. And the films that would go through this are African American, high quality, independent films that have something to say, that we feel is made by a filmmaker that has a voice that we want to support. And so that's the goal of it. And really it's to, allow filmmakers, even at the writing stage, even at the script writing stage, to say, you know what, don't write that based on what you think the studios want. Write your story, make your story. This is one possibility to distribute it, but there are many others. We just have to start thinking outside of the cell that we've been put in when it comes to Black Hollywood.
So you would pick films, release them, or get them into film festivals?
No. The films would, this is a theatrical release, so the whole effort is powered by Black Film Festival organizations.
I see.
These are organizations like, for example, the Pan-African Film Festival.
Here
in LA. Their festival is, 7 days, 10 days in February. But the rest of the year, they're still smart and have a great infrastructure. Why don't we release some films? And so that's what it is. It's all these film festival organizations outside of their annual event banding together to create another event, a theatrical release 2 times a year.
So has this been done before in other ways?
No, this is the first of this model. We hope other people will follow. We hope the LGBT community will follow. We hope the Latino community will follow. Asian American community will follow. Any niche group that is not being represented by the studio system can, come together and release a film on their own. So we're hoping that this model will be something that other people can look to for ideas, and we're open to sharing and talking with people if you want to figure out how you could possibly do it on your own. And again, this is a not for profit in the sense that if someone's getting rich, the money that comes back to us from the box office, our share, goes right back to the film festival in the city to promote their year-long engagement of Black film.
So that's the incentive for the film festival organizations, putting their muscle behind one film.
Yeah.
So they pool their resources to try to get the similar kind of muscle that a big studio would have. Right. And then I'm assuming also using all sorts of other grassroots means, social networking.
All types of grassroots means. But also, since I own a PR firm, I'm able to handle the national publicity aspect, the national marketing aspect. So, we're doing the CNNs. We've got the LA Times piece, the New York Times piece, the Entertainment Tonight, our Star on Monique show tonight, those kinds of things that, our goal is to really reach a wide cross-section of African Americans, some of which don't listen to, NPR and public radio, some of which don't connect with social media. So we're doing everything we can to reach everyone. This is not an elitist organization. This is not some art house artsy thing. We're trying to present positive images to every Black person that likes movies, and that's a lot of Black people.
My guest is Ava DuVernay. Her film I Will Follow releases at AMC theaters across the country and here in Los Angeles as well. And is there, in terms of AFFRM and the model that it offers, how can local Black indie filmmakers in LA, which I'm sure has a lot of filmmakers of color. How can they sort of tap into this? Because it is a tough choice for a screenwriter to think about, what can I write that will get my film to screen? If I do stick to my heart, what are the chances that I'll ever make it off the ground? I mean, there are a lot of, it's a tough industry, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a tough industry. And one of the things that I'm really trying to encourage people is to look to ways to distribute on your own. So whether it's with the support of a firm or whether it's self-distribution in the way that I did my first couple of films, it can be done.
How did you do your first couple of films?
Oh, gosh, I loved it. I self-distributed my film. I booked it into theaters in L.A. and New York. I did the social media stuff. I did the press stuff on my own. I mean, when you really think about what is the studio's function? Studio's function is to take your rights in perpetuity and to, give a little money for the push, Well, keep your rights and figure out how to push yourself and open your film. You can go to a theater, approach a theater, buy out the screens. You can do splits with theaters. Let's split the door. I mean, we really have to break down what the studio's function is because they are collapsing and the studios are looking for large profit centers. They're looking for, Transformers 19, like I said, and they're not looking for the intimate character-driven drama. That's not going to make enough money for them, but it'll make enough money for you if you put your film in your suitcase and peddle your wares.
How much of a role has the advance in digital technology helped people like you and this sort of movement of filmmakers and indie filmmakers? Because at the same time that studios are banking on special effects, which also rely on digital technology, people like yourself can take advantage of it.
Absolutely. I mean, the digital era has kind of opened the doors. We don't need to have a 35 millimeter camera and, expensive reels of film to shoot our films.
What did you shoot your film on?
I shot my film on a very small DV camera.
Wow.
HDV camera, yeah. And
you can't tell from the trailer that I watched.
Thank you. That we borrowed.
Amazing.
That we borrowed. I didn't even buy it. I was that bootleg, that janky. But yeah, we made the film. You can borrow a camera, you can rent a camera. You don't have to buy the camera. I just saw a beautiful film made on an iPhone, a whole feature film made on an iPhone. And so, those barriers to entry have collapsed. There's really no excuse. If you have a story, tell your story. And there are now new ways to get it out there. Between VOD, between all of the digital means, you can get it out there if you hustle.
Give our listeners the website for AFFRM and any other information, any events. Is there going to be some, or what the next upcoming film after I Will Follow is?
Right. We haven't announced the next film. We're focused on the film at hand. It's I Will Follow. It opens March 11th. And I remind people it is not just that day and it's not one screening. We are open in the theater. You go to the box office. You'll see all the times. It is a regular film. And so you can join us anytime through the weekend, anytime through next week. If we do well, we hold over. If you're interested in finding out more about AFFRM, you can go to www.AFFRM. So it's just like the word affirm, except there's no I, because there's no I in team. That's corny. I know, it's corny, but true.
AFFRM.org?
AFFRM.com.
.com.
Yeah, AFFRM. There's a volunteer page if you're interested in volunteering, learning more. You can read all of our press. You can watch videos and just interact with us. I mean, this is really a by us, for us situation. It's going to take a village, and we're asking people to please come out at some point over the opening weekend or even during the week down at the AMC Criterion Santa Monica, right on the beautiful 3rd Street Promenade. Just totally remodeled. Got the new mall there. Beach is steps away. Just come on down, hang out. It's going to be a lot of folks there, and we need your support.
That's the AMC Criterion in Santa Monica. That's where you can catch I Will Follow. And as Ava said, the better the ticket sales, the longer it will remain at the theaters, the bigger the success it can be. So definitely encourage listeners to check out the film, the feature film by my guest, Ava DuVernay, I Will Follow. Ava, I want to wish you the best of luck, and thanks so much for joining us today.
I love the show. Thanks for having me on.